Boom. I love it, man. What's up? You're watching Cheap Seats. I'm Riley. That's Graydon. And today we're predicting every NFL Honors Award for the end of the season.
Holy moly, mother of mackerel.
Only 2 weeks have passed so far, so these are very early and very accurate predictions for the end of the year.
We'll see. I don't feel strongly really about anything yet.
I think that you can watch this at the end of the season and it'll be basically the same program as watching the NFL Honors Awards.
I think it'll be pretty funny, honestly.
I think it'll be, I hope it's funny if you bring your A game.
Ugh, I ate a 1 pound fish before this. I don't know if I'll be all right.
Very, very cheap.
1 pound fish. Let's go. Who's going?
I know this has worked in the past for other NFL influencers, which we are now. And so I would say if there's any NFL players watching, can you do a very, very cheap 1 pound fish celebration when you get a touchdown?
In the end zone. Really, if you're the mic'd up guy?
Yeah, but I mean, if you want to do it, do very, very cheap 1 pound fish and do that to the camera.
And you can do, come on, ladies, 1 pound fish.
That would be awesome for us.
That would be good.
It would show our influence.
It was like a minor video on the internet about 4 to 5 years ago that still rings true in this household.
Let's start with the big one, MVP. Who do you got for most valuable player?
I put P. Mahomes, otherwise known as Patrick Mahomes, the quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs. I know he's coming off a very stinkeroo game.
Yeah.
But I have the feeling with this Pacheco injury and just the way this offense looks, I think his numbers at the end of the year are going to be really good. And more importantly, I think they're going to be just fine enough. And this might be like a 15-win team. And if a team gets that many wins, you give that quarterback the MVP. That's just how the NFL does it now. And if you go down to the root, the base of the C, the root note of what MVP means, take Patrick Mahomes off the Chiefs. See how many games they win then.
I will say this year looks statistically like it's going to be abysmal for quarterbacks.
Yep.
Not a lot of touchdowns, not a lot of offense. Nobody's throwing for 250 yards as much as they used to. And so I've got CJ Stroud here. I just think that the Texans are going to be really, really good this year. I think he's going to make impressive plays. And I don't know. I could see the Chiefs having a little bit of a skid in this season.
I could too. I think Stroud's a great pick here. And I think a lot of those passing numbers are going to change quite a bit as the season gets going.
I also have Josh Allen as just a possible runner-up choice.
Freaky white guy.
Yeah, he's a freaky white guy,
Just
and he
like
keeps getting freaky with his white body all over the defense.
Oh man, Oh yeah, I do. I don't want to play Buffalo.
I don't want to be in a bedroom alone with Josh Allen. I'll
Naked.
say it. Well, either way.
I don't want to be naked under the sheets with Josh Allen in any size bed.
You know what he reminds me of is a freaky white guy.
Yeah, he's like a totally freaky white guy that could totally win MVP, and if he does, he might lick it.
Yeah, he's that type of freak.
Yeah.
He's that type of freak where he might lick the trophy.
Yeah.
Keep him away from the trophy, NFL. You don't want Josh Allen licking it because he's a freaky white guy.
Totally, man.
His stats are probably going to be astounding by the end of the year because he has to do a lot on that team.
I assume so. There might be a lot of turnovers there too. I feel like that's what ultimately has held him back from like really being a total runaway front runner in any of the past years. Is like he'll toss in 10 fumbles and like he can keep the interceptions at a minimum. He might only throw like 10 this year, but turns the ball over. That was a completed pass for everyone that couldn't see that.
6 yards complete. 2nd and 4.
Anybody that's so high right now actually have a real chance at winning MVP.
Baker Mayfield.
Really?
I think he has a chance to be in that conversation.
Okay.
See, here's the thing is like we got Sam Darnold, we got Derek Carr.
Right.
I don't think either of them had the momentum going into this season like Baker did.
Sure.
Because he just got paid. It's his first really like successful run with the team. It feels like his second wind.
He's found home.
And so I feel like he'll have the resume more than Derek Carr and Sam Darnold will by the end of the season, regardless of how those seasons go.
And there's a chance he has 38 touchdown passes.
And if the Bucs are 12 and 5 at the end of the season, there's a shot for Baker. But I think Derek Carr and Sam Darnold, it just doesn't feel right.
It doesn't feel real yet. They got to go half the season at this pace for me to be like, well, you got to force me to believe in those two. With Baker, it's like he's our touchdown leader right now.
It's weird to not even be mentioning Lamar or Joe Burrow here because they were such hot candidates before the season started.
Totally.
Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts kind of were part of it as well.
Yeah.
There's people hoping they had like bounce back seasons and stuff. But I mean, Dak doesn't need a bounce back season. He had a great season last year.
But I know what you mean.
Just it's hard to look at 0-2 teams and think they have a shot.
Yeah, totally. I mean, Lamar could go on an absolute ripper, but that's, again, what it'll take. Right now, it's not looking promising.
Last year, it was so contested. It was kind of like, well, Dak had the numbers, Tua had numbers, and, Josh Allen could have gotten it last year.
Totally.
But I still think Lamar deserved that, handily deserved that MVP trophy. And it's a trophy, right?
Yeah, they get a trophy. I believe it's made out of metal.
Okay. See, I was wondering if it was a medal or a trophy, and it turns out it's both.
Yep. You got it there, man. Hey, let's go to Offensive Player of the Year.
Yes, I know that he's a little banged up right now, but I have Justin Jefferson.
That's not too far off, because if that team's going to be good, Sam Darnold's not going to get all the credit. It's going to be a kind of on the back of Jay Jettas.
Which people just say Jettas, right?
Jay Jettas.
I say Jay Jettas.
I say Jay Jettas.
People say Jettas, I guess.
That's cooler. Jay Jettas.
Whatever.
I have Saquon Barkley. I am obsessed with how he fits in with the Eagles, and I think he could easily, with Christian McCaffrey out for 8 weeks, he's not going to have the stat line that he always has. Alvin Kamara is a guy who could do the 1,000 this year.
Yeah, that's my runner-up pick is Alvin Kamara right now.
It's very hot right now. If that team starts to struggle, I think his struggles are kind of impending, and I think even if the Eagles struggle, Saquon has like a 1,200-yard rushing year with like 18 touchdowns type deal.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good pick. I mean, we're filming this the day after Monday Night Football where Saquon had that big drop.
Totally.
Obviously, he had a good game. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, for some reason, that was just kind of out of my mind today.
Yeah.
And I know he's banged up as well, and he's probably going to miss some games. I had Joe Mixon down just because I thought he's sneaky and he's going to be on a consistently good team all year, and their run game looks really, really good.
It does.
But I also put down Nico Collins because he is a fantastic wide receiver who I think could have like a CD Lamb type of season like CD had last year.
It's a great comp. I'm going to have to dap you up for that one.
Yeah, thanks, man.
No problem. It was weird with the sweatshirt thing, but
I'll pull it all the way up.
There we go.
Make sure I get it all the way up.
Let me give you that good dap. You got to dap you up for that one.
See, that was on you. That was on you. That's here. Let's try one more time.
I'm going to have to dap you up for that one.
That was good, I think.
It was all right. Yeah, I don't know. There's just something about watching Saquon run. Even last night, he has that drop. He leads the league in the last 3 years for running backs with drops. He's not great out of the backfield like that. You can't expect that out of him. But just watching his first step, the way he sees a zone and just jumps into it, it looks like Nick Chubb 2 years ago. He's getting 6 to 8 yards on every first down he gets the ball. It's absurd right now.
The Saints were averaging 18 yards per play the first half of their game this week, and Alvin Kamara was a big part of that.
Yeah.
And so that's what makes me pick Kamara have the edge over Barkley right now.
Yeah, that's fair.
Defensive Player of the Year?
DPOYs, man. Who you got? Who you thinking? What you don't?
I know you're going to hate this because we are Browns fans on this channel.
No.
I've got TJ Watt.
PB and TJ sandwich. I don't give a shit.
He is a defensive presence. He's scary. He transforms. Like, that defense makes mistakes, and it doesn't, it just still is a scary defense every time because he's there.
Yeah, what's horrifying about him as, the D end is just his ability to do things off of the line of scrimmage. He can step 5 yards back, or if a play's developing down the field, the way he pursues and can still change a play, he will throw a man backwards.
Yeah, what's scary about him is his anger problem.
Yes.
It truthfully feels like that's the thing, is he just has unmitigated rage.
Yeah, I feel like he would hit you.
He would hit anybody. There's something about, but he also feels like that turns off when he's not on the field.
I don't hear from him ever.
Sometimes he goes on McAfee,
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. I turn it off then. I don't like to even give him the time of day.
Usually it's his brother, but sometimes he goes on.
Yeah. What's up with all the freaky white guys on defense?
Yeah, I know. Aiden Hutchinson eating up sacks.
That's my pick.
Eating sacks.
That's my pick.
4.5 sacks in one game.
I know.
And they lost.
As exemplified by my first couple picks, I'm trying not to let the most recent game really decide my picks here.
Try not to be reactionary.
With Aiden, I am going to be reactionary because he is pinning his ears back and kind of helpless on that defense. That defense isn't great. I don't mind the way that secondary looks, and I think there's a chance they can end 15th, 16th best. I think that's best case scenario for them. But his pursuit of the quarterback is it's just that many years younger than these other guys. And TJ and Miles are great. Max Crosby is great. Bosa's hurt now for the Niners. Aiden is just by far, I think, the quickest D end right now. Him and Will Anderson from the Texans are really scary young guys for me. This award has really been coming down to the sack leader. I know TJ eked out Miles last year, and Miles still got it. But I think if Aiden is the sack leader or like breaks the record this year, if he's the sack leader by like more than 3, if he like runs away with it, I think they give it to him, especially with these like underlying awards. And I know DPOY is MVP for a defensive player, but MVP is MVP. But then everything else, you do kind of get that. They kind of shift them around. They're not going to give a guy it 4 years in a row.
Yeah.
Which is weird because in the NBA, they will do that. Rudy Gobert just gets a little French kiss on the cheek every year.
And everybody complains about it every single year.
Thanks for being French and big, Rudy. That's Adam Silver kissing him.
My third runner-up is Maximum Crosby. I feel like he is scary. I like Spillane on that defense, too. That defense is just, it's Raiders. That's what they do.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see them hungry again.
Yeah.
Because last year, I feel like they took a step back, and now they're like, that defense is, again, scary, unruly. I wouldn't want to face them. No. I'm nervous to face them week 5 or 6 whenever we got them.
Despite Antonio Pierce's cowardly punting on 4th down in week 1, it seems like he has established a bit of that tenacity on defense, because I think 5 Raiders left week 2 with fines. Like, they were punching people, they're hitting you while you're down, they're tickling your taint.
I know, I saw that.
They're back to the Raider way. Raiders. And their owner, who's creepy with a haircut and dating a 24-year-old, said, "She's not dating me because of my money. She's dating me because of my looks," and then went, which is disgusting.
That is disgusting.
Yeah.
What about anybody from the Bears defense make your short list?
I love Jalen Johnson. He had a pick this week, and I love Montez Sweat. You know,
that defense just looks so good.
I think it's a collective effort.
Yeah.
It's very much a collective effort over there, but Jalen Johnson is really nasty. He's like really progressed. I like everything about that defense. I just wish their line could stop a hose, stop a water,
stop a leak,
there's another step to that, Fred. Stop a leak in a bucket, plug a bucket. I wish that offensive line was buckets instead of the men they hired to do it, because that might be better.
Finger in a dam.
Yeah, fingering a dam broad. Oh, fuck.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, shit.
You made an oopsie there.
I made a what the hell?
Yeah.
Eberflus is hot, but he might not be. He seems stupid.
He's good looking.
Yeah, but he seems dumb.
Sometimes looks all it takes. All right, let's get into Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, this is the most exciting award for me right now.
It is also the most confusing right now, because it's only been 2 weeks, and it's not like we have resumes in the NFL for these guys.
Right.
Going into the season, Caleb Williams was the obvious favorite.
Run away.
The odds were crazy for Caleb to get
Foregone
this.
conclusion.
Totally. And now, 2 weeks in, and they're 1-1. They won a game.
Yeah, but they won a game where he was like skipping stones instead of playing quarterback.
But I'm just saying, it was so obvious that he was going to win this award, and now I don't think anybody's going to pick him.
No, not at the moment. He was fresh off 3 interceptions, and the offense only produced 1 touchdown last week. So.
Right.
And there's the rumors now are swirling. The old press conferences of DJ Moore last year are starting to
about
come
Justin,
out, being like, the 2 guys coming out ain't better than Justin. This is going to be his first time dealing with like adversity in a locker room. How outspoken of a leader can he be? Because his whole thing up until this point has been kind of like the prove it guy.
Yep.
He just shows you. He leads by insane play and won't like get at everyone in the locker room. And now he's got to yell at like 33-year-old men to get them all on his page.
And DJ Moore was visibly upset. Yeah. He was rolling his eyes. He took his helmet off at one point because Caleb missed him so bad.
He apparently told Bajent, he was like, "We need you," or something. Yeah. There was like a clip of him saying something to Bajent on the sideline. That's like, that's not a great look 2 games in. And it sucks when your defense plays that well and your offense, you have no faith in your offense going out on the field.
And it also sucks that they were on Hard Knocks and you got to see all of that. Yeah. And Bajent looked fantastic.
Yeah, he's a bad boy. Why didn't someone should have, Miami? Hello.
Yeah, they only got 2 quarterbacks in that room though.
Yeah.
They didn't keep anybody else.
They didn't keep Reed, and
they didn't keep Rippon. He went to the Vikings. So I do think that Bajent could be a starter at some point. Yeah, I would like to see that. He's only in his 2nd year.
My runaway right now is Marvin Harrison.
Same here.
It comes down to this. I think Jaden Daniels is the best rookie right now. He just,
best rookie quarterback.
No, I think he's the best rookie right now.
Really?
But I don't think he finishes the season healthy. He's too reckless with his body right now, and that's partially what makes him so great, but he needs to learn. Sometimes you'd rather have a 4th and 2 than a fresh set of downs and you take a hit because you tried to juke out not Bobby Wagner's on his team, but some veteran safety who's pissed and is going to like hit you in the hip. He took a hit last week after a 3rd and 13 scramble, and he back juked 2 guys, and then he dives for the first down. And you can just see him already wincing. He was really efficient in the air. I know they didn't score a touchdown last week, but like the Commanders looked pretty, they
look serviceable. They look pretty good.
He can move the ball despite Terry McLaurin having like 4 receptions the whole year. Like he's making something out of literally nothing, but I have the feeling he's going to miss like 3 to 5 weeks at some point. And Marvin Harrison has no real reason to get hurt. I know wide receivers pull shit all the time, but he has a great quarterback, and the Cardinals look like they'll be pretty damn good, maybe a sneaky playoff team, and I think that propels him to the win.
I also wrote down Malik and Xavier. I think that Malik Neighbors looked good. He had a kind of a breakout game for the Giants. They obviously lost that one, and he did make a mistake towards the end of the game.
Totally.
And then Xavier Worthy, obviously so explosive, but I think that's going to be streaky. You never know with the Chiefs.
It looks like he gets 3 to 4 touches a game. That's like the game plan right now, and 2 of them are going to be behind the line of scrimmage, either a bubble screen or a reverse. He just has such a hard time like creating separation in man coverage, because if he gets jammed, he's just a little boy, and he gets like manhandled for the first 3 seconds of the play, and then he doesn't get to run his route, and Patrick throws it somewhere else.
I think that he won't have enough productivity this year to win the award, because I think Marvin Harrison is a more complete player at the moment. So.
Get some beef in Xavier. Feed that man a burger this offseason.
Now, defensive rookie of the year, which I always forget that they even do this.
This
you know
one's
what I mean?
so hard to do early in the year.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I just wrote down Dallas Turner for the Vikings because I think that their defense is all right, and he looks
he's a beast.
Yeah, he's really, really good.
He's a full-grown man.
For that defense, he's a great player. He'll be a standout player for them. I also wrote down Quinyon Mitchell. I know that, he's from Toledo, so that's kind of why I'm rooting for him so
really
much.
Good last
but
night.
he looked great. He almost had a pick.
Yes.
He missed a few coverages on that in that first game, but I think it's like problems you can patch up, you can fix throughout the season. As he gets comfortable with the pace, he's so fast, so athletic. I really think he's going to be a great corner for them.
Yeah, he kind of reminds me of like a taller Denzel Ward. The way he moves and like his formation, his hips, everything is really good in coverage with him. He is my second two. We have the exact same 2 at least here. I have Dallas Turner winning it just because I think the Vikings will be pretty good, and he'll probably end the year with like, as a outside linebacker, if he gets like 6.5 sacks and anywhere near 60 tackles, he's good.
Yeah, and I have Jared Verse written down, but I just don't think that LA is going to be that good this year.
Yeah.
So
there's so much yet to be seen with the rookies on defense. These guys, there's no numbers that pop out. Like with the offensive guys, Marvin Harrison's had a huge game. Malik Neighbors had a huge game. Caleb threw a bunch of picks. Jaden Daniels has ran his ass off all over the field. With defense, you really got to like watch some film, and you're like, oh, he really beat that blocker there, and that looks like a 5-year veteran. Like this nice swim move. You get like one or two
until
things.
You get like a Terrion Arnold interception, you get like a Quinyon or like a Cooper DeJean interception or a big play.
Strip sack.
Totally. Like once you get those, it'll start to take shape. But for now, I'm going with Dallas Turner because I feel like he looks like the best player.
He looks like the most developed and like ready to play. And corner's really hard to win it at, because as a rookie corner, you are going to run into some tough lessons.
Yeah.
You're going to run into Keenan Allen. You're going to run into Mike Evans. You're going to run into Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb. These guys are going to teach you lessons. You're going to get burned. And that shows up on tape a lot more than like if Dallas Turner gets pancake blocked by Trent Williams last week. No one's like, oh, loser. It's like, okay, you got ran over by a truck, but it doesn't it doesn't show up in like the box score like that ended in 6 points type deal.
All right, comeback player of the year. This one, they kind of changed the rules for you had to have been injured now.
Ricky Pearson.
Oh, yeah, that's a different story. That would be awesome, but you have to have been injured to come back from the injury and play really, really well.
Yeah.
I've got J.K. Dobbins.
That's my runaway, too.
It's just
so impressive.
Electric.
Yeah, and as long as he can stay healthy all year, we know he's in a system where he's going to get 300 carries. Like, he's going to get the rock so much. He's going to have he's my sleeper for offensive player of the year. He could win both.
Yeah.
You know, like he is really good, and Harbaugh loves to run that thing, but then that worries me too, that he's going to, pull a hammy, stretch a calf, something in the middle of the season, or they'll start to lighten his workload, save him for the playoffs. But regardless, if he plays like 15 games this year and gets 1,000 yards, he's winning it.
My question that I've been wondering this, when did everybody in the NFL gain the ability to do front flips?
Yeah, everyone can flip, man.
It's like so many.
They're freak athletes.
In the first 2 weeks, though, so many of them. There was the one last night that he flipped into the end zone and he was like tailed by a guy. Like, why? He almost kicked him in the face. How do they make this decision and do it and not worry about getting hurt? Like, are there not coaches just being like,
please don't do the flipping?
Maybe, like, J.K. Dobbins should not be flipping, dude. He could barely walk last year. It's awesome. Crazy, but I still think he's going to win that. Yeah. I wrote down Burrow and Aaron Rodgers because they were both injured last year.
If Aaron gets him to the playoffs, I think that's realistic. I don't know if they'd love to give it to him, but...
No, they'd love to give it to Joe. If Joe starts 0-2, which, by the way...
wrist injury.
Okay, yeah, and he hit his leg last year.
Oh, boo.
Whatever. They've started the last 3 seasons 0-2. I will say that. They're like the anomaly. They've made the playoffs after starting 0-2. If Joe Burrow does that again after being injured last year and stays healthy this year, and they do a little playoff run, I'm saying they're going to give it to Joe.
Playoff run doesn't matter. These are regular season awards.
That's true, but if he gets him to the playoffs after starting 0-2, after being injured last year, they give it to Joe. I'm not saying they should. I'm saying the NFL would do that.
Oh, gee, I jerked off too much. Now my wrist hurts. It's like, what?
You think that's what happened?
That's how he hurt his wrist, from jerking his little meat too much.
No, it's not true.
Because he's a bitch.
No, well, you're going to criticize someone for jerking off too much.
These wrists are strong.
You've taken 3 breaks during the filming of this video to go do that.
Yeah, and these wrists, you know what? Wow, wow, wow. Give me a Gatorade bottle. Zing, zing, zing. I'll pick them up all day. It doesn't affect my gameplay.
What does Xi Jinping have to do with this?
Xi Jinping. He's actually what I jerked off to the last time.
Oh.
There was a new bikini leak of Xi Jinping on the beaches of South China as they attempt to invade Taiwan.
That's awesome.
Xi Jinping, comeback player of the year. I came on the back of him on a picture. All hail China.
I don't know about all this.
China loves the NFL too, man, just like us. And if you're in China watching this,
how?
You got some
And
answers.
that was not me saying a word in Chinese, in Mandarin, by the way.
No.
That was me saying, how are you watching this?
Yeah, because they don't have YouTube.
I don't think you have that.
They have some other sort of tube.
Something else. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I like JK for this, and if they give it to Joe Burrow, I'm not jacking off. And that's a threat, Roger Goodell.
Now we got Coach of the Year. And I have a runaway for this one that nobody's talking about. Everybody's saying Jim Harbaugh is going to win this. I got Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah, I mean, what do they have to finish for him to win it? Do they have to win the division?
Make the playoffs.
Wild card, they don't have to win the division?
I think if the Lions win the division and the Vikings get wild card, you still give it to Kevin O'Connell, because I think Dan Campbell made some mistakes already, and he tends to make mistakes that I don't think they'll give him Coach of the Year.
Yeah, and they won the division last year and they didn't give it to him, probably for those same reasons.
Totally. And we were a wild card team last year. The Browns were, and Kevin Stefanski got it.
And you have to face a certain amount of adversity, seemingly, to get it, at least in Stefanski's sense, with the Chubb injury, the 5 quarterbacks. O'Connell, you're missing your first-round pick. You plug in Sam Darnold, make a wild card. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, they beat the Niners already, and it was the schemes. It was like the plan for the game is what made them win. And they won against Kyle Shanahan. I think that's like a very impressive, one thing to happen so far, one event in the season that signifies that he could do this all year. But then again, they could go on a skid and lose 6 games, and he's obviously not going to win it if they don't make the playoffs. But
and we're really going to see how he deals with these injuries now. We're going to see how good those schemes are if you have to play a couple games without Addison and Jefferson and Hawkinson. A little worried about that. I think this is another Andy Reid year. My logic here is that the Chiefs have won 2 incredibly lucky games already. They're a toe and a PI call away from being 0-2. If that's the way the coin's fallen for them this year, like, there's a real chance they run the table here. I don't want to speak too soon, but this team might be 13-0, looking at a perfect season, the first ever 17-0 team type shit. They're only going to get better, and they've lucked into 2 wins. And so I think if they're 15 wins, 16 wins, which I know sounds ridiculous, but I don't think it's outside of the realms of possibility for the Chiefs, it's Andy Reid.
Yeah, I think that would be very controversial unless they win upwards. They have to win 15 or more games to get it, because people are going to be like, it's the refs that are making you guys win. That's already kind of the narrative right now. It's like, whatever, they do the jersey swap and it's Patrick Mahomes and the refs. But
that's kind of my prediction, though, is a 15-win Chiefs team.
I could see that. I think that's a good shout. I also wrote down Sean McDermott because I think he was on the hot seat going into the year. Yeah. They're already 2-0. I said in the power rankings video we just did about the Bills, I think they legitimately could go 10-0 to start the season. Yeah. They have a pretty serviceable schedule for that to happen. All they have to do is get through the Ravens, who don't look fantastic this year.
Not world beaters. I call them shit birds. The rat birds, clown birds. They took our team. That's why it's still a little soft.
Middle of the night, they took it.
Yeah.
I think Sean McDermott's doing a great job, and I think that he could win it.
Yeah.
Some adversity coming into the season, lost his weapons, you know.
I think he's calling the plays there too, because we have Dorsey, I know, who got fired middle of the season last year. And if he's calling the plays too, that bodes pretty well for a Coach of the Year candidate.
Yeah.
I like your calls, man. You got good picks.
D'Amico Ryans is my other outside pick because I think they should have maybe given it to him last year.
Fucker.
Like a lot of people said, he should have gotten it over Kevin Stefanski.
Liars.
It'd be kind of weird for them to give it to him this year because they went in as favorites. But I think if they have 13 wins, then you've turned around an entire franchise.
Totally.
And you kind of deserve some props for that.
Got to win the division type shit.
They'll win that division, I think.
Do you have an assistant Coach of the Year?
I didn't know we did that.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the major awards, man.
Oh, really?
That is a major award.
Okay, well, let me go through my Rolodex of assistant coaches that I can totally name.
Clint Kubiak is winning this one.
Right.
There's one
Saints,
I'm giving to the early hype. If this offense isn't going to end the year as number one. I firmly believe that.
Okay.
But if they end the year as a top 5 offense and Derek Carr's at the helm the whole year, that man deserves. Give him the Medal of Honor. Give him the Nobel Peace Prize. Give him a Pulitzer. Give him a Wurlitzer piano and let him play, "Oh, when the Saints go marching in, I touched his clit, Kubiak." Something, I'm working on it.
That's pretty
Maybe
good.
a Louis Armstrong thing. You can do that.
Yeah, I don't know what it sounds like, but
Derek Carr,
yeah, I think it's pretty good.
I'm turning into a sideshow Bob freak. But I also think Jim Schwartz could be in the running for assistant coach of the year if the Browns get back to a top 5 defense, because they're going to propel them to victories. And then Ben Johnson is kind of the foregone dominant OC in the league, and the Lions looked like doggy poo-poo last week, but they're going to have a lot of impressive stats guys, and I think Ben Johnson could do it too, but I'm giving it to Clint.
I will also throw in Bobby Slowick.
Yeah.
He's great. I think that's the thing going into the season why I was so confident in the Texans and the Lions is because they had coordinators who were definitely sought after as head coaching.
Turned him down.
And they turned it down to stay with their teams.
Which is sick.
And that's cool because the Texans and the Lions have both turned their franchises around and become powerhouses. And so if they continue to do that, I think that you have to give props to Ben Johnson or to Bobby Slowick.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. Man of the Year.
The Walter Payton Man of the Year Award. Who'd you pick for this, man?
Well, I thought about giving it to Walter Payton, but then I realized
he is dead.
He's dead and he already got it. Nick Chubb. I put Nick Chubb.
Nick Chubb is a great guy. He runs multiple charities and mini camps for high schoolers in Cleveland, and it's an award based around your local charities. I don't know if Nick is outspoken enough, but they like the silent, stoic types.
That's true. I also just thought of this and realized there's a very obvious one, and it's Tua Tagovailoa.
Oh, hell no.
He has like the huge charity thing.
Yeah.
I think there's a chance he gets it.
He can't talk anymore. All right, I'm giving it to Frank Ragnow because his charity, Rags Remembered, it gives grieving children the chance to experience the outdoors. He takes kids whose parents have died into the woods and teaches them how to build stuff and make fires. And as a summer camp kid, I think that's an amazing experience. And it's called Rags Remembered because Frank's dad was known as Rags, and you guessed it, he's dead.
Does Frank actually go to the woods with the kids, or is it like...
No, I think he does every once in a while. I mean, he's got to show face.
Okay.
I don't think the kids give a fuck if an offensive lineman's with him in the woods, but I think it's really nice for a kid who lives in an apartment building downtown whose parents croaked for them to go into the woods and build stuff with a big white guy named Frank. I think that's beautiful.
I do
and that's
too.
the kind of... I don't know why you're laughing.
I didn't know about Rags
Remembered.
I know. It's just the way you say stuff sometimes.
And I think at the end of the year, we could make a considerable donation to Rags Remembered, and that would be a great thing to do.
We might start streaming during Thursday night football.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll do our super chats for Rags Remembered.
I love that.
And maybe we'll pick a different NFL charity each week or something like that.
Rags isn't good enough for you. Huh?
No, I'm saying like we just want to spread the wealth.
Spread the wealth. Yeah. Those kids and their dead parents don't mean anything.
No, that's not what I mean.
Okay.
I don't mean that at all.
All right.
I'm just saying there's probably other stuff too.
There are great charities amongst all of the NFL. The Walter Payton Man of the Year Award is meaningful. And a lot of those charities, those guys do change the lives of kids and other stuff all around the world.
Which brings me to the last one that we're going to talk about, which is Fan of the Year. Last year, Tom Grossi won it.
Yeah.
And from the Pat Cast.
Yeah.
And he does great charity work and a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And shout out to Tom Grossi. And this year, I obviously picked Graydon Weaver from Cheap Seats. I feel like he has been a great fan. Because the thing that I like that he does the most, and I know that most of it has to do with charity, but for me, it's about the type of fan you are. And he's the type who says, eat shit and die to everybody that we're playing, everybody in our division, everyone in our conference, frankly. And he just tells everybody to go swimming with cement shoes on. And I think that's awesome.
Fuck their fathers. That's what I tell them.
Yeah.
Fuck their relatives.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck them all.
Right.
Fuck Taylor Swift. I don't give a fuck about nothing but the bees. And yeah, maybe I could do a little more charity work and that could get me into real consideration. But thank you, man. That was my pick as well.
It was you.
I picked myself.
Okay, yeah.
And I picked, if they gave a cutie award, that it could go to you.
They don't do that, though. I mean, that's kind of like an empty,
You don't know.
That's an empty prediction.
The inaugural NFL Cutie Award goes to Riley John Savage.
Do you really think I'm going to get that over Taylor Swift?
You're as cute as a button, and if we get you on the sidelines for one game, I want the whole world to know it.
Thank you so much.
No problem,
that means
man.
a lot to me.
That was fun picking all the awards. We'll see you at the end of the season when we know them.
Please watch this at the end of the season and see how it holds up. I think that is going to be a fun watch for you guys.
Sorry for my attitude and some of the things I said.
I don't think you have to apologize for nothing.
Hut.
Hike. Let us know who you think's going to win each award down in the comment section. We've been Cheap Seats. As always, go Browns, and we'll see you in the next one.
Go.